Zambians. They're really not following what is going on a daily basis. Our Chipata trip, Eastern Province trip, was altered. The dates of our visit were altered 3 times by the police. Of course, carrying out instructions of the PF who do not want us to move. That's what you need to take note. The Constitution does not allow anybody to choose when we go to Chipata. We should choose when we go to Chipata. As you should choose where to go in this land. Nobody should constrain you. We are being constrained. That's the point I'm making. The fact that...
But you got there eventually.
That's not the issue. That's not the issue. This is where we get it wrong as a country. That's not the issue. Our right and freedoms are taken away to move when we want. You know, the law does not stop me from going to Ndola. And nobody really should stop me from going to Ndola. Even if I go to Ndola every day. I just drive to Ndola, I arrive in Ndola, I have coffee with somebody, I return, I can come to Lusaka and start again and go to Ndola. Nobody should say, you were in Ndola yesterday. What are you doing today? This is what's happening under PF. And I'm glad you are prodding this issue so that citizens can understand. Davis Mwila is moving, PF is moving anywhere and everywhere they want. We have to now so-called apply for a permit. We don't need a permit. The Public Order Act does not require us to have a permit. We just need to notify the place if we are going to have a public meeting. But now, and we notify them within 7 days, 7 days before the meeting, they are disregarding that and altering our program so that they slow us down. The objective is to slow us down, to allow PF to have freedom to move, and they believe by doing that they will get more members. It doesn't work like that.
Do you not think that and you know, we've had this conversation with some of my friends before, that we are constantly in this campaign mode. We're so far away from 2021. I mean, here you are talking about, you know, going out mobilizing, the other side as well are going out mobilizing. It does feel like there is some sort of campaign level activity that's taking place, and yet we're so far away from the next election.
So you're asking why?
Yes, I'm asking why.
The reason is that there's no leadership. There's failure of leadership. It's because people are hating everywhere. This is what I try to open up with. In the educational sector, children are not in school. The few that are in school, they are not getting the correct support from the government. Student loans, bursaries, allowances, meal, BC, whatever you want to call it. It is not there. Lecturers are not getting support in terms of the minimum wages that they should receive. In the health sector, it's a crisis. Agriculture, don't even touch, let's not even touch agriculture. The e-voucher system has failed completely. Over 40 to 50%, in fact 60% of those e-voucher cards that the PF gave, through the PF gave to farmers, there was no funding deposited to support, if you like, those cards, e-voucher cards. So they were useless. That's why farmers went out there to obtain fertilizer. It was not there because there was no funding. The fertilizer may be there. That had its own challenge in terms of supply, but there was no money to support. So there's a collapse of every aspect of our lives. As a result, my dear friend, you see that in hunger, homes, people are not having decent meals in a day. You see that in children being out of school. I'm only repeating myself. You see that in people out of jobs. You see that in, if you like, just, even you here, the money you used to earn before and you could buy more things, today you buy less things, even if you have a salary increment, because the cost of living has gone up. Electricity tariffs have gone up 70%. And everything has, fuel prices. We were told towards the election 2016, somebody traveled to Saudi Arabia, that when they come back from Saudi Arabia, fuel will be costing 5 kwacha per liter. Did you get fuel? Do you get fuel 5 kwacha per liter? A total lie. You know, this Don Kumeba thing It started as a joke, but it has killed our culture, values. Lies are becoming normal now. If you tell the truth like Akainde, you are viewed to be a liar. This is an anomaly. It's anomalous. We must correct this situation. My brother, it is these issues that are making people restless. It is the difficulties people experience even to travel to work in the morning. Because of the high prices of fuel, the minibus charges have gone up. And some colleagues have to walk to the office 5-6 kilometers every day. By the time they're in the office, they're tired.
Yeah. They will say, sorry, they
Yeah.
will say, those in government will say that, the reason why fuel is expensive, which obviously then leads to the cost of living going up, is not really their fault, but it's the fault of international factors, i.e. the price of crude on the international market. This is what they will say. They will say that we have no role to play in what the price of fuel is on the international market. Is that something that you can understand?
My brother, of course I know. I know those factors. I know those dynamics. I know. And this is why I'm saying to you, there's failure of leadership in the PF. There is no leadership. There's people masquerading as leaders. That's all. But there's not there. Let me just stay with this point and illustrate to the people. When the pump price of fuel was around 9 kwacha, 8 kwacha, 9 kwacha, the price of fuel on the international market was $110 per barrel. Today, the price could be around $55, $70 per barrel. It has come down. But the pump price of fuel in our country is going to 11, 12 kwacha. How does anyone explain that increase on the basis of just the reason you get? You can't win by cheating people. The overall prices of fuel on the international market have come down. And the prices ought to come down, purely based on that argument or that factor. But the countries around us buy from the same sources, and their price of fuel is lower than ours. What is the difference? The difference is in the quality of leadership in those countries. Which countries, my dear young brother? Botswana. Even in Zimbabwe, with all these difficulties, next door. Remember, Botswana is next door, Zimbabwe is next door, Namibia is next door. You can walk to Botswana, you can walk to Zimbabwe, you can walk to Namibia, depending on where you live. If you live in Katimamulilo, in Sesheke, walking to Namibia is 5 minutes, you are in Namibia. You live in Kazungula, walking to Botswana is 5 minutes over the ferry, right, at Kazungula. If you live in Chirundu, it's 5 minutes, you are in Zimbabwe. What is the difference in these neighboring countries? Because there is better leadership, better quality leadership. And this is the product this country is missing. That's the missing link. Just one little point. You've only asked about the prices of international prices of fuel. I have shown you the figures, and I hope the listeners are following, that it is a lie because overall the fuel prices have come down on the international market. The quality of leadership issues are missing in Zambia, away from the cost of fuel. Here are the other factors that are causing, the problems in this area.
I was hoping there was more, not just failure of leadership.
Exactly. But it's all arising from failure of leadership.
But there has to be more.
Yes, exactly. It's a package. Yeah. Leadership is all-encompassing. We've just talked about that factor. Let's look at the exchange rate. Because you buy these commodities, basic and common currencies. Let's use the dollar. The other countries are managing their economies well. They produce goods and services, some of which are for consumption locally, which reduces, my brother, the import bill. You're with me? When you reduce the import bill because you produce a bit more here locally, I mean those countries, which citizens need to consume daily, then you don't need as much dollars. So you demand less dollars. Hence the pressure on the loss of value in your local currency, in our case kwacha, is less. So your currency reasonably stable. That's one issue. The second issue is that they manage their expenditure properly by reducing their expenditure, overall consumption, overall demand for goods and services, because they are prudent, they are not wasteful, they save foreign exchange. Of course, you import a lot of things as a consequence of being an import-dependent economy. So these are technical details which I don't want to bore the listeners, but these are all factors that arise the way you run the economy to stabilize your currency so that you do not have to use a lot of your currency to buy the same quantity of goods that your people need to consume. That may be as basic things as, if you like, cornflakes, the ingredient which you eat every day. It could be as basic as the carpenta you eat. Now let me show you how carpenta, which is fished from the river bodies in Luapula, in Kariba, costs money. You have to catch the carpenta using nets. Where do you get the nets from? There's $1 in those nets. You have to catch the carpenter using rigs. Rigs run the boats that you use to put your net. Engines are important. Therein lies the $1. So these are little things that are not even worth for me to explain too much. I just wanted to show you that the overall package of the quality of leadership matters. Here is another area, corruption, my friend. Corruption in other countries is controlled. Here, this is the most corrupt country ever. At my age, I have seen many governments, many presidents come and go. This is the most corrupt. State House is all about corruption.
I'll come back to
and that's a cost.
I'll come to
and I'll also tell you the
taxes
that we pay. And I want us to spend a bit of time on the taxes.
We'll do that after 9:30 because I've got news coming up in 5 minutes. So here's something that I can ask you in under 5 minutes that you can respond to in under 5 minutes. With the cost of living, most people agree has gone up. There has been a slight reshuffle in cabinet. There's a new finance minister. Are you hopeful as a citizen of the Republic? Are you hopeful that things can get better with someone new running the Ministry of Finance?
No. Why would they get better? Because fundamentally, the PF leadership is incapable. You can shift one portfolio to another. It doesn't change the thrust. When there is no vision, because there is no vision in the PF for the betterment of the people of Zambia through running the economy and the social welfare better. Because, by the way, you can't run social welfare without running a successful economy. You can't support the poor without running a successful economy. This is what citizens must understand, that the world has changed. So the world has changed towards focusing on economic management, leadership's capability to run the economies, to generate growth for jobs, for health, for education, for agriculture. And to do that, you need a clear vision in the leadership, which the current presidency and the team there does not have. By the way, they declared, Mr. Lungu declared that he had no vision. He made it public to the people of Zambia. You know, in South Africa, when there was a change of leadership, Zuma was being, taken out. I was there. And some international commentators were saying, why are South Africans complaining so much about Zuma? It is them who chose a person they knew from way back that this guy cannot run an economy. Here, we put a guy we knew could not run an economy, could not run even a law firm. Then we made him president. How could he provide leadership to turn around our economies, fortunes? He couldn't. So it is us Zambians who must examine the type of leadership that we need.
But the consequence currently, we're stuck with this current government until 2021. So let me rephrase the question slightly. Hypothetically, if you were a Minister of Finance, what are one or two things that you would do to turn it around?
Okay. I don't have to be Minister of Finance, but it's hypothetical. I like your question. It's hypothetical. But let me reinforce this point.
Okay.
Let me reinforce this point. Zambia should expect nothing from PF.
No, I understand that.
Right?
But we're
Because-
stuck with them
yes,
for the next 3 years.
Not really. Zambians have the power to decide. It is the people who choose a government. We should never say things like
Constitutionally,
that.
though, we are stuck
We
with
should
them for the
never
next 3
say
years.
things like that. There's a constitution in
Yes.
South Africa.
But,
Zuma
yes,
is
I
out.
understand, but constitutionally, we're stuck with them for the next 3 years.
Okay, my friend, let me give you a small checklist.
Yeah.
And date me on one of your programs where we just speak about the economy and nothing else.
Yeah.
Don't ask me about UPND I was doing. Just ask me about the economy. And from there you can decipher what the UPND stands for.
Okay.
There are a few things that the Minister of Finance ought to do. One is to basically work towards lowering the cost of doing business. Lower the cost of doing business in many respects. Lower the cost of fuel. Reduce the cost of fuel. As they lied to us about the Dubai 5-kwacha fuel, which was never going to be there. That's what a culture of lying and stealing does to people, to human beings. They are unashamed. That's number two, right? They ought to begin to live within their means. Control borrowings. Stop borrowing beyond your capacity to repay. That's the second issue. Each of these areas I've said to you, my young brother, are loaded. They need a bit of explanation. Examples. I've just given you on the cost of doing business, which will result in lowering the cost of living. You know, one of those is reducing the cost of fuel, which is the mover of the economy. Let me call it energy. Energy, which one span is fuel, as you know it. Another span is energy, is electricity in any form. Could be hydro, could be coal, it could be solar energy. We need to reduce the price of electricity as it is supplied per kilowatt hour. I don't want to go into the details, but it's too high. It was just increased by 70%. So one hand electricity goes up over 70%. Homes cannot afford, students cannot even afford to study so they can pass because it's expensive to keep the lights on for them to study. A mother cannot use a stove as much as she used to because the cost is high. She now resorts to charcoal and therefore deforestation comes. So there's a connection of cost. I said the second issue is to stop borrowing too much. Live within our means. Let me give you an example. Today, my brother, and I don't want to illustrate more. Today, you have a country which is overburdened by debt by any standards more than any period in our history. When PF took over government, our debt portfolio, external debt, was just around $2 billion. You can say between $2 to $3 billion. From 2011, they have taken our debt portfolio, after lying to us, by the way, to between $17 to $20 billion. Ask me the comparison. Why is this wrong? What is the size of our economy? The size of our economy is only $25.5 plus billion. Then your debt portfolio is $20 billion. Where is your headroom? $5 billion. Where is the economy? It's gone. It's wiped out. It's gone. And you see it in cost of servicing that debt. From 2011, it was around $200 million. Less than $200 million. Now, to service this debt alone, is climbing to over $1 billion, close to $1 billion.
Okay.
Now, that's detail. So I've given you two factors only. There's a third factor.
Very quick, because I have news.
Yes.
In 30 seconds.
Yeah, but
Can
this
you
is
do
what
30
we should
seconds?
do. We should focus on the
I
issues
understand.
that affect people.
I understand.
Especially when you call a guy like me to a radio station. If you call others who yap around, it's okay.
All right, we'll do a little yapping without news.
The community news headline.
Sikongo MP appeals for relief food following crop failure due to heavy rains, and human eater crocodile hunted. This and more at 10.
The community news headline.
The past returns to haunt the guilty. Power struggles turn ugly
Seriously, call
as
me
rivals
for
lock horns. Will the truth prevail?
The way you guys handle
Will
it,
justice be
like,
served? Don't miss the all-new season of FIFA, Tuesdays at 9 p.m. Only on Zambezi Magic, sharing our stories. FIFA is brought to you by FNB.
For all your human resources and payroll software needs, think eSoft Africa. At eSoft Africa, we have an HR information system integrated with payroll with interesting features such as the ePay slip. We also have a standard payroll software, Congo DR payroll software suitable for all company sizes, from small to very large multinational companies. Also on offer are payroll outsourcing services and HR consultancy services at affordable rates. Call us now 0977 454075 or email sales@esoftafrica.com. eSoft Africa. Quality service delivery on time.
Entrusting anyone with your assets is a risk. Insure your assets with General Alliance Insurance Zambia Limited, such as motor vehicles, houses, household goods, office contents and buildings, goods in transit, computers, machinery, construction works, and liability covers. For friendly insurance solutions, visit us in Lusaka at Garden Plaza Office Park, ground floor, Thabo Mbeki Road. In Kitwe at Mukuba Pension House, Suite 244, first floor on President Avenue. Call Lusaka 0972 369 438. Kitwe on 0954 153 386. Email info@generalalliance.co.zm or visit your broker.
It's Pound Stretcher, stockists of modern and high-quality home and office furniture. Pound Stretcher offers the most amazing deals and bargains on a wide range of home and office furniture with free installation and delivery within Lusaka. Pound Stretcher, your reliable value for money store.
Hello Chalala, your quality food provider Zambif thanks you for the support over the years, and good news to our customers in Kamala South, Liwala, Chawama East, Shantumbu, parts of Chilenje, Lilai and all surrounding areas. Zambif is now even closer to you with a bigger and better Chalala macro outlet opening soon. Come and enjoy convenient shopping for trusted brands under one roof. Get your quality and affordable beef, poultry, pork and dairy products, as well as day-old chicks from Zamhatch, stock feed from Novatech, industrial, sports and school footwear from Zamshu. We're located along Kasama Road, Chalala, near Lusaka Apex University. Spacious and secure parking available. The store opens Friday, 2nd March 2018. Zambif, feeding the nation.
FM.
9:34 in the morning, feeling so clever. Our guest on the program this morning berating me for the number of ads that we have, and I said to him, but you're the one who's just been talking about the cost of living being high. We need to pay our bills as well. Our guest on the program this morning is the president of the UPND, Hakainde Hichilema. I left you with a hypothetical question about Ministry of Finance and what needs to be done to change the route. You gave me three points. I want to pick up one, which was in terms of cost of living. Now, here's what a lot of people complain about in this country. They complain about high taxes. The number of taxes that we're constantly hit by. Yes. We've now just been hit by it's not really a new tax, it's an old tax. But it's a tax that is now going to be implemented. This is withholding tax. Yes. Do you think we're paying a lot more than what we're getting?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is one of the points I wanted to illustrate. And I took it out as a separate point, my friend. First was to reduce the cost of living, cost of doing business, which will lead to reducing cost of living. I gave you an example of, if you like, energy, electricity, and of course fuel, then to reduce the borrowing because we're living beyond our means, and most of this borrowing goes to things that I must take as a fourth point, is corruption, to fund corruption, right? This is why we are talking about some measures ourselves in the UPN, zero tolerance on corruption, because we've never seen the country this corrupt ever before. So now let's return to your question, and let's spend a bit of time on these issues. This is what affects the people. This country, which is our third point, has such a huge tax burden. Citizens have such a huge tax burden. Nikaribe kuona hapo government boma ivutisa bantu ma citizens kupita ma taxes like we are seeing now. Ma taxes yapaka maningi. People are working hard within a difficult situation, joblessness, no business opportunity. They make a little money, the government wants to take everything. And let me show you how the government wants to take everything away from the people of Zambia. Just allow me a second. If you are an individual, let's take an individual. There are so many taxes you pay. One, if you are employed, you pay a top pay-as-you-earn tax range of 37.5%. Let's keep that figure aside. Very quickly, you go to buy anything in the shop for your children to use soap, you pay VAT 16%. Same individual. You go, if you like now, you have a little house. You have a little house that you put on rent. You must pay 10% withholding tax at that figure. Then you want to do some other business. You want to sell any property. You pay another 10% property transfer tax. Add that. You can add a lot of other taxes. Even before you sell your property, every year you pay ground rent. Ground rent. Every year you pay, this is to the Minister of Lands, every year you pay rates. A lot of people don't distinguish the two. Rates, local authority rates to the council. Huge rates. Right? Ground rent, different tax or levy. Council rates, a different tax or levy. If you are an individual, you pay between 75 to 80% of your income, my young friend, to the PF government, which Mr. Lungu uses to fly with a large delegation all over the world every other day, even after he promised you that he will not be traveling the whole of 2018 to work on domestic matters. But you know, when they see a plane flying over Zambia, they wish they were there and they create a trip. How is that trip funded? It is funded by these taxes you and a poor marketeer pays. So 80% of your personal income around there goes to paying the PF government for them to buy ambulances at $260,000 when they could have paid $70,000. Corruption. To pay for fire tenders at $1 million when they could have actually paid $300,000. So they've taken $700,000 for 42 ambulances. They've taken away your money, which you are paying through this 80% of your income on taxes, $29 million. And where do they take their money? To build homes in the Gulf estates in Swaziland, in Dubai. They buy Rolex watches, which they're showing you, as Kaiser Zulu is doing in the bars. That's your money. I want Zambians to know that Rolex watch is your money. Those houses, those planes, they are flying every day, that's your money. Meantime, you go to bed without food, you walk to office, you walk to Chainama Hospital or Levy Hospital to UTH to see your sick patient, and the patient has no oxygen, the patient has no medicine. The money is going to finance those expensive watches and travel. I've shown you that 80% of your income. You're only left with 20% to look after your children. Now, if you're a company, Rochi, you are the same individual. Remember, companies are owned by people, eh? Then you pay 35 to 40% as income tax. Next, you also pay withholding tax there. Similar manner. They don't recognize that Mr. X has been taxed as an individual, is now being taxed as a company. Most time, first they start taxing you as a company, eh? Then down as an individual. You earn a little. Let me show you. This is so bad, so annoying, that people can even be singing for PF Dununa Reverse. Even some musicians are composing songs for people, encouraging people to steal from you. 40% top range income tax, corporate tax, withholding tax 10%, VAT 16%, now education levy 3%, property transfer tax 10%, insurance, which is in debate now. By the way, they should not implement that policy. I work out, you pay around 79% of your income. If you start as a company, which you own as an individual, from which you earn a dividend, from which you earn maybe a salary, you will have already paid 79%. So you're left with 21%. Then as an individual, whatever you receive, only that 21%, you have to pay 80%. So effectively, there's tax on tax and lumping, and you are left with very little. And you are happy and singing songs and supporting PF so that your children don't go to school, so that your children who complete school have no job, so that if you're a farmer, you don't get fertilizer on time, so that you do not get any business in Radio Phoenix because the economy is shrinking. This is what I call the third point that the Minister of Finance should look at. You are overtaxing citizens. What did PF tell us when they were campaigning towards 2011? Actually, lower taxes. I have shown you that they lied to the people of Zambia. There are no lower taxes at all. They lied to you. As a consequence of this, my friend, as a consequence of this, they basically have killed business in this country. Effectively, they've killed individuals, they've killed business. If you go to a slightly different level, but the same human being, you are a marketeer. They've taken away your trading place in the market. It's not there. Their failure to provide clean water in the markets, and their failure to provide toilets, waterborne toilets, their failure to clean garbage in the market, that's a duty of a government, central government or local government. They are the ones that have brought cholera. By bringing cholera and not knowing how to prevent cholera, which is cholera ni matenda ya madoti. By being greedy, not spending money on water and toilets and cleaning sanitation, they brought cholera. It is the PF that has killed the people through cholera. Then they drive people out of the markets because of cholera. Then people go, a marketeer who has nothing else from where they earn income. If they've a little house the husband left, they now have to part away with it. 80% plus 79%. Effectively, these are numbers, compound numbers. Effectively, 95% of all your income is gone. Because I'm saying 80%, 79% of your primary income from business. So you're left with 21% is now the total income. And 80% of 21%, they've taken it away from you. You are left overall with only 5% of income from your work. They've taken it away from you. Then they've also brought you cholera. They've taken you out of a marketplace. When you are in a marketplace, you have to pay a levy again. The same person, the same household. They have killed you. If you are listening to me in Chipulukusu, in Chamboli, you are listening to me in Chavuma, you're listening to me in Kashinakash, in Kabombo, you're listening to me in Shangombo, in Chief Kambombo, in Chama, you should know that the problems you're going through, it is because of an incompetent leadership of the PF and a corrupt leadership which is overtaxing you. And it's the reason that you cannot even get fertilizer. It is this greed. Okay. Now, let me just add a little thing here, very important. In addition, Luigi, you have road tolls all over the show. I mean, I cannot imagine how people can do a thing like that. You have TV levy. You have presumptive tax, which is basically called, in another language. Maybe let's stick it, I don't want to confuse people, presumptive tax. But in another language, let me use it anyway, turnover tax.
Yeah. I think most people will understand that.
Yes, exactly. Just allow me to finish.
That they are being overtaxed.
Exactly. But I'm showing, because citizens sometimes don't even know whether it's true. When we say it, they say, no, it's politicking. This is not politicking. This is real. You still have, motor vehicle licenses. You have carbon tax. You have all sorts of taxes. Let me read a quote from somebody you recognize. Winston Churchill, who was a British Prime Minister in some of Britain's difficult times, wartime. Winston Churchill was Prime Minister of Britain 1940 to 1945, his first term. Then he came back 1951 to 1955, thereabouts. Now, here's what Winston Churchill said. For a nation to try and tax itself, basically its people, into prosperity is like a man standing in a bucket and trying to lift himself up by his hands. And the bucket has no handles. Very clever Prime Minister. This is 1940s, 1945. The message he was saying that you cannot overtax your people and expect that you can grow the economy through doing that. Why? Because growth, which comes from investments. Investments come from savings. Savings come from what you earn, you save some. To save some, you have to spend less. Now, tax is a cost. You are spending 95% of your income on tax. You cannot grow the economy. This is why the economy has collapsed under PF from 7% growth per annum they found in 2011 to around 2%. This is what I wanted you to know. Yes.
Can I now ask you a question?
Yes,
having allowed you to propound your point. Can I ask
and that's why there are no jobs, you know.
I understand. Okay, just moving away from this, because you mentioned something very interesting in those 15 minutes that I allowed you to speak non-stop.
Thank you.
You mentioned health insurance, and you said they shouldn't pass it.
No.
Is there a reason why you don't support universal access to health?
This is
because that's what it is, isn't it?
It is not like that.
But
it's projected. Hear me out. It's projected like that. This is what cheats do. This is what those who have no capability.
So what is it?
What they are doing? Look, my friend. So I have just shown the listeners that you have only 5% of the income left.
Yes.
Now, how do you expect families to survive on the 5%, and that 5% you are now going to take another levy? How? Before you go, this is what Winston Churchill said. Because the best person to invest their money is the owner of the money. It is not the government, because they will spend it carelessly on borrowing more money so they can steal on ambulances or fire attendants. So the intention, I'm challenging the intention. The words are correct, but
so the idea is correct.
The idea is correct, but you don't implement it in an environment where citizens have no more income left.
So would you rather they got it from what they're already taxing us
exactly.
from? Okay.
No. We don't even want to think like that. It's a paradigm shift for us. It's a different thinking for us.
So how would you do universal access to health?
Yeah.
As a party, how would you do universal access to health? Yeah.
Hear me out. First, the first line of health provision is an individual. The individual is the one who knows that I'm feeling unwell, and they must be able to leave their home. Even before they leave their home, they should be able to buy some cough mixture because of a bit of money. They should be able to eat well. You with me? Nutrition. That's the first line of health service provision. It's at the individual level.
Yes, but then secondary, you need to go to a hospital. So now let's go. Let's get to the point of going to the hospital.
Yes, because you see,
I'm rushing you here a little. I understand, but I need
why
to.
You are rushing it?
I need to because I'm going into news time very soon.
I understand.
Yes.
Why you are rushing it? That you don't want me to explain.
That's not true.
So that citizens don't hear.
That's not true.
Okay, let me start rush it. You're the boss in here, but I'm pleading with the boss that when you ask a deep-rooted question, allow a reasonable answer so that listeners.
It's still reasonable if you start from the secondary aspect and not from the primary.
So I am saying that the argument we were making earlier to have citizens and households to have income left to them to decide to eat well, to basically clean their homes, to do all of those basic things. That's the first line of health, universal health. But it's not possible to do that in this country because all the money is taken away by crooks in government, by thieves in government who are corrupt. The second level is when the citizens now have lesser taxes, they have money in the pocket. As PF tried to lie to people, more money in your pocket, there's less money in the pockets of people now. Then you are able to introduce a facility like this because citizens have income to be able to contribute to that. Number two. Number three, inside there, I'm talking of UPND thinking. Inside there, you don't make a blanket levy where you are saying every citizen, because you know you cannot collect from the informal sector when you have not structured the informal sector in a certain way. just detail, because I don't want to explain more, because you don't allow me to do that. And I understand why you're doing that. Because Zambians are used to just scratching things and just limping along and listening to half-baked leadership, and they come and lie to people, and people say, oh, do not reverse, do not reverse. You pay the price. That's the price we're paying now, to have incompetent leadership. So anyway, so in there, you will structure it in a way, my friend, that allows, first and foremost, maybe 80% of the money required to fund universal health care to come from government coffers. And for us in UPND, it will come from running the mining sector properly, structuring the ownership of the mining sector properly, including who do you give a license for minerals, you give it to Zambians, then the Zambians, only the Zambians fund, as an example, you manage Mukula trees properly, not to allow Jean Kapata all of a sudden, and those around State House, including the presidency itself, to earn from Mukula trees, which could have been managed properly to contribute to national, economic growth, and therefore contribute to the universal health care. Again, you take a bit of money from there, such that the government initiatives of the UPND, as examples, you manage water properly. Water is a huge resource. It's one of the resources that will be in short supply in 30 years' time. We have all of it here. So then you will fund 80 to 90% from those initiatives as UPND, and only expect citizens as individuals, and again structured properly, to pay maybe only 5 to 10%. Very, very, if you like, affordable. Then also you leave enough money for households to run what they need to do for their families. This is what UPND will do. It is not happening now, and therefore you cannot introduce this so-called universal health scheme bill right now. The structure of the economy, the structure of leadership is wrong and is not affordable.
Is it mediocre thinking that they're trying to push the bill in its current state?
Yeah.
Is it lazy to just say that we're asking citizens to contribute? Is that the lazy way of looking at it, and not looking at the outside the box way of looking at it,
exactly,
in terms of how to raise those funds for universal access?
Exactly. And I hope I've answered your question, because you asked what would UPND do.
Yeah. No, you have.
In a nutshell, I've told you that we think differently. And that's why I always disagree when people say, UPND policies are similar to PF. There's no comparison. In PF, there's no vision, there's no policies, it's just chip and tap and tap. There's no leadership there. In UPND, they've shown in a very short period of time what we do. It is incompetence, to answer your question, is laziness. It is just also what I may call lack of understanding. They just don't understand things, and therefore they hear there's a universal healthcare system in other countries, then they look at me too. It doesn't work like that. You have to understand the operating conditions, the size of the economy, the opportunities.
Are you hopeful then that Parliament, in its current state, will be able to say, yeah, this is not the bill for us?
First, the committee, the health committee, has already said no. But the PF are trying to push it using the arrogance of numbers. Because a vote like that in Parliament
just requires numbers.
A simple majority. No,
exactly.
Not just numbers. Please, there's a difference. There's more minimum numbers called 2/3. Let's just break it into two. And simple majority. They will simply pass it on simple majority. Even if our members of Parliament and any well-meaning parliamentarian who represent truly the people of Zambia, from Chilubi Island, from wherever you come from, you should not vote for this bill. But they will do it on the basis of just a political, if you like, oomph. Oomph meaning what your stomach feels as opposed to what your head and brain thinks. Now, here is the issue. Unions have objected to
I wanted to ask you about unions because I wanted to allow me to ask the question.
Yes.
Okay. Do you think that the unions have been paid by the government?
How?
Do you think they've been paid to encourage, to support this bill?
Have they supported it?
There are some unions who have.
The major union, you see, there are always surrogate institutions. When you have a failing government like this one, it creates even unions. Small unions, splinter unions here and there, create confusion in the sector, in the labor market. They are there. They are created to do exactly what they do. The major unions follow the debate.
Yeah.
They submit it to the subcommittee of parliament. And ordinarily, once the subcommittee of parliament says no, it should not find its way. That bill should not find its way on the floor of the House. But arrogance of the peer. And I'm saying this so that citizens can open their eyes and minds to what's going on. So major unions have said no. Employers who will be meeting the tab partially are saying no. Professional bodies in the sector are saying no. You know, Luigi, there are other things that you need to do alongside this. You must improve the health services delivery capacity. I'm talking of health service providers, the clinics, the public health institutions, the private health institutions. They are still lagging behind to be able to support a scheme like that. Even they are not ready for it. So for us in the UPND, we will do a package of the related activities and decisions must go together, then you implement. So the answer, short of your answer, is that there is no union of substance that is supporting this. Those that are supporting it are surrogates of PF. As you know, they are surrogates of PF in the religious field. Christians for Lungu. Okay. How can you be a Christian for an individual? We're all Christians for Jesus, for God. Okay. The Holy Spirit.
We'll take a break. When we come back, I have 3 quick fire questions I want to ask you. Then I'll take phone calls. Yeah. I want to ask you about ballot papers, because you've come out and you've issued some sort of a statement around ballot papers. I also want to find out about from you about some of these motions. There's one particular motion that you're pushing for, is the motion to impeach. You don't have the numbers. I'm curious to find out why you're even bothering.
We'll answer you.
The National Road Fund Agency, NRFA, has commenced road tolling at Kakonde, a simplified toll station between Mbala and Makonde in Northern Province. Locals are encouraged to visit the toll station to get on-the-ground information and the eligibility status on local and frequent user discounts. Several toll stations are at different levels of construction across the country, and the NRFA will be informing all road users as soon as they open. Pay tolls for sustainable road maintenance.
This message is brought to you by the National Road Fund Agency, a sustainable road fund.
Get on Zambia's widest 4G network today and enjoy the most incredible and affordable data plans. Experience life online like it's supposed to be, with faster speeds and better indoor coverage on all 4G devices. Swap your current SIM for a 4G SIM card at any Airtel service center and get 1 GB data for free. Experience the most affordable data plans and enjoy the freedom to do more. Only on Airtel 4G. Do more of the things you love for much less. With the new Airtel Data Bundle. Chaopena Data Bundle. Data for all. Airtel, the smartphone network.
The University of Zambia Graduate School of Business is inviting applications for admissions in Doctor of Philosophy in Business and Management, postgraduate and undergraduate programs for 2018 academic year on full-time, evening, 100% online and blended basis. These include MBA General, MBA Finance, Management Strategy, Accounting and Finance, Corporate Communication, HR Management and Finance, Business Management, Marketing, Transport and Logistics, and many more programs with flexible payment plans. Undergraduate registration begins on the 5th of March 2018. Postgraduate classes start on the 7th of May. PhD classes begin on the 14th of May. Apply online at mygsb.unza.zm/register or visit the main campus at former Commonwealth Building. Call 0977-717-137. The University of Zambia. Service and excellence.
The community news.
The headlines as Congo MP appeals for relief food following crop failure due to heavy rains, and human eater crocodile hunted. Good morning, community news with UPND's Congo constituency member of Parliament, Mundia Ndalamei, is worried about the hunger situation in his area. Mr. Ndalamei attributes the hunger situation to the crops that have been submerged in water due to the heavy rains as Congo district is currently experiencing. Mr. Ndalamei has since appealed to the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit's DMMU Vulnerability Assessment Team under the Office of the Vice President to consider Sikongo District for food relief. He says Sikongo District is eligible for relief food and it is a hunger-prone area on an annual basis. The Department of National Parks and Wildlife in Mufungwe District has embarked on a hunt for a crocodile that claimed lives of 2 children as they attempted to cross a tributary to the Kabompo River called Mabembe Stream on 21st February 2018. West Lunga Area Management Unit Warden Francis Samalumo told Zanis in Mufungwe that his department has sent a team of officers to the area where the crocodile killed the children with a view to crop it. Mr. Samalumo says the decision to kill the crocodile is in line with government's stance that human life is always more important than that of animals. He described the death of the 2 children as a sad development. Meanwhile, Mr. Samalumo has advised that the general public to avoid areas around water bodies connected to the crocodile-infested Kabompo River during the rainy season. To end the community news, we take another look at the headlines. As Congo MP appeals for relief food following crop failure due to heavy rains, and human eater crocodile hunted. Keep listening to Let the People Talk on Phoenix FM.
The community news.
10:03 in the morning on Radio Phoenix. Our guest on the program this morning is the president of the UPN, Diaga Chilima. I have a couple of other questions just to ask you real quick, if you can, in terms of responses, so I can go to the phone lines. There are a lot of people who want to get in touch with you this morning. So the first one revolves around motions. So there are a couple of motions that you've spoken about. You've spoken about motion to impeach the president.
Yes.
I'm curious to know why, because you first of all you don't have the numbers. So why advance this when you just don't have the numbers to pass this in Parliament?
When 10 people, thugs, come to your house and they want to rape your wife, 10 of them, muscled men. There are 10, there's you and your wife. They want to rape your wife. Would you fight back, or you say, no, I can't fight because there are 10 big guys, I'm just one and I'm too small? Is that what you would do? Absolutely not. You will fight back because you know it's wrong for one person to rape your wife, it's wrong for 10 people to rape your wife. Even if there are 10, you are alone, you're small, you will fight because that is the correct thing to do. We don't look at numbers first in Parliament when we bring a motion like this. We look at the wrongs that have been occasioned. The president has committed so many wrongs. He has abrogated the Constitution in so many ways. He has abrogated Article 104, 105 that indicates when a presidential petition is submitted, just on submission, the presidential powers must move to the Speaker of the National Assembly.
No, I understand the reasons why.
Yes,
I understand the reasons
that's the point
why.
I'm making. It's not the
reasons.
numbers.
No, I understand the reasons why,
Yes.
but I'm just, and maybe you can just let me elaborate.
Yes.
You know, there are people who will say that, you know, HH, and you've heard this before, HH
Yes.
is bitter. And so this kind of exemplifies their point.
Why?
Because only a bitter person, according to them, it's not from me, only a bitter person, would push a motion or would encourage his members of parliament to push a motion to impeach someone, but they don't have the numbers. Isn't it a pure waste of time?
You're not listening. This is what I'm saying. 10 muscled men want to rape your wife.
No, I understand the
Right?
analogy.
You cannot say because I'm only one small guy, I don't have the numbers to fight these people, I will not protect my wife. Then you are not a proper husband. That woman must divorce you and marry somebody else.
But do you not think it's a waste of time?
How can it be a waste of time? Look, why do we
What's
go
the
to court?
reason? What's the reason? Maybe not the reason, but what's the end game of pushing a motion like this?
It's not even an end game. You're missing it. This is where we're allowing people to steal from us so that they can buy homes in Dubai. Because you are saying they have the power, they have the army, they have the police to beat us, we have nothing we can do. That is not true. You are the people to say no. a guy goes out and says, Ubomba Muibala. Forget the election issues. Let's talk about the last 1 month. Ubomba Muibala. Alia Muibala. And literally saying to you, he is in State House and he's going to eat, he's going to take away citizens' assets in that office where they put him. He's encouraging you here to steal from Radio Phoenix because you work at Radio Phoenix. You are supposed to take your salary and do not touch anything else that does not belong to you. The Ibala is not yours. Radio Phoenix is not yours. So take your salary. You cannot have a president making corruption as a national acceptable behavior. You cannot. Leave the election alone. If you talk about bitterness, I don't even know what bitterness is all about. We're talking about in insurance, health insurance. You heard me my answer. What we would do. That's not being bitter at all. Citizens must learn to say the law was put to check everybody. To check me, to check you, to check everybody. So why would it then be translated to be bitterness? It shouldn't be. This is where we get it wrong. Corruption is unacceptable. It's eating into the resources of our children and everything. And marketeers, taxi drivers. But we are voting over my taxi driver. Any movement, Baguira.
Yeah, but my point and my question when I said end game and waste of time. My point is that do you not think that there are better motions to be discussing in Parliament?
Give me an example.
Then one that, to be honest, again, based on numbers alone, just won't go through.
You don't get it.
I'm sorry, maybe it's my simple maths here, I'm doing 1 + 1 = 2.
But you don't get it. It's not
explain it to me. Explain it to me explain it to me in the way that I want to understand it. I want to understand what the end game is. That's what I want to understand.
The end game.
What is the end game? So this motion goes, so one of your members stands up and says in Parliament and says, this is the motion to impeach the president. And then what?
The end game is to bring it to the open, to the public eye and attention that nobody should abrogate the law, the Constitution to start with. That's the end game. The Constitution was put there to be respected, to be obligated to by everybody. No one is above the Constitution. If you like, I wouldn't use it the way you're using it. That's the end game. So that in future, anybody who breaks the law basically gets brought in line. It doesn't matter who you are. That is the end game. Otherwise, if you have no rule of law, you will have a jungle law where people walk in this station, my brother, and discharge ammunition from an AK-47 and kill all of us because we've discussed something they don't like, yet the Constitution allows for freedom of expression. You understand that now? Somebody will come to your house and rape your wife, and you can't do anything because there's no law. There's no basic norms, laws that bind us together to behave as civilized human beings. Somebody takes away your money. From one fire tender, he takes $700,000. And he gets away with it. And you are quiet. Because if you go to Parliament, you will lose the motion. That is not the reason you take the matter to
impeachment. Do you then think that maybe a better motion to take to Parliament is a motion to remove immunities for any president? Isn't that a better motion to take than a motion to impeach a current sitting president when you don't have the number?
This just could be another, but this is what maybe your weighting of thinking is. But it doesn't mean if the motion of, if you like, removing immunity is more important than the motion of impeachment. They are only because the law was structured that way. Again, I come back to the law. The law was structured that way. It's not about bitterness. It's about respect for the rule of law.
Okay.
And that is why, just hang on, Luigi, you're flooding too many questions. That is why we are losing it as a country. Look, why do we have a $20 billion debt? It's because people are abrogating the law. Parliament should have oversight in borrowing. But the PF are borrowing money, even from expensive sources, Luigi. Instead of borrowing, us in UPND, when we have to borrow, we don't encourage borrowing, but when we have to borrow, we will borrow at 0%, and we know the money is there for 0%. We will not borrow at 12%. Why is PF borrowing expensive money, 12%, when they could borrow at 1-2%, and they're giving away 11% of translating to $800 million of debt service per year. Why are they doing that? If they were obligating themselves to the law, rule of law, procedures, regulations, they will have to have parliament to say yes or no. The reason they are circumventing parliament is because when they borrow from expensive loan sources, they then can get a commission. That's corruption. That's why now I hope you understand the end game is to stop people who are breaking the law. We get taken to court every day. You know that I've been arrested several times on the perception that I've broken the law. I get arrested. And you have never raised issues the way you are protecting the president now. You never push this angle that way. Some of you would even urinate in a house when the toilet is just in the corner because you fear you'll be arrested by the PF, you'll be tear gas, because you have made it normal for ordinary citizens like you and I to be brutalized, to be beaten against the law, where there's no arrest warrant, where there's no search warrant. They'll come and search your house. That's against the law. But you don't think that's important. We are doing this for people who are weak, people who cannot speak. We speak for them. The end game is to ensure that there's a rule of law. Okay. We respect the rule of law.
We got there.
I hope you have got it now. Got there Let's move to something else.
Yes, we got there at the end. Okay. Another motion now on the flip side now. So there's conversation from the other side that there's somebody who wants to bring forward a motion to limit the number of times one can appear on a ballot. Again, same question I'm going to ask you. They have an end game. Most people know what that end game is. Again, is it a waste of time?
They can bring what they want. That's their right. The constitutional right they have is to bring.
But does it worry you? Does it worry you from sitting on the outside? Does it worry you that they have the numbers? They have the numbers that if it does come through, that they can actually push this through.
You're missing the point again. Look, guys, basic knowledge is very important. I told you earlier.
I understand. Simple majority. I understand. I understand. But my question to you is: do you not worry? Do you not worry that there is a possibility at all that this is a motion that could actually go through?
I'm not worried. Okay. This is what I'm trying to answer. Why am I not worried? First, they have a right to start a motion. It is enshrined in our constitution, in our laws. Exactly the same argument I was making on the other side. On the other side, you're calling me bitter. On the other side,
I can call them bitter as well.
No, you shouldn't call them bitter. That is simplifying matters. Don't call them bitter. That is their constitutional right to start the process. If they succeed, well and good. But they don't have the numbers either. In the same way you were asking me, do I have numbers? Why are they starting a motion where they don't have the numbers? They are exercising their views and following the law. The numbers they don't have, which let me explain to you. I said the insurance bill is simple majority. They have the numbers. The constitutional amendment, which is what that fellow is trying to push, right? They don't have the numbers because they need 2/3 majority. So they don't have the numbers.
Okay.
But if they want to make a point and they want to go through that process, nobody should stand in their way. So nobody should stand in our way as we represent the people of Zambia, including those who are so afraid of saying a word against PF thugs, brutal thugs who are killing people, and we are standing here ready to be killed on behalf of the people, so that even if we are dead tomorrow, those who live after us will have a better country, a developing country, economy is growing, jobs will be there, lesser debt, lesser taxes, including taxes that are coming now, that media houses will be taxed through Topstar. If you have a television station, you now have to pay a levy to Topstar to support the corruption of that deal between government and Topstar in ZNBC. Now we have to pay as citizens, as viewers of television. Okay. That's what we want to stop. Let me just close this argument because it's very important. The morality of any argument you push through parliament or through any law is equally important. The idea is to target Hakainde. There. It is the people to judge. The provision that was put in the law there, as you know it, is that somebody must not serve as president for more than 2 terms. You understand? And the reason is simply for somebody who is already president of a country. not president of an association, not president of a party. We have a UPND constitution. The constitution is very clear. It doesn't say nothing on that. But the reason they are doing that is because they are frightened of HH and the UPND leadership, because we are not afraid of them, and we will tackle them, we will take the impeachment motion. As you have indicated, we may even take the removal of immunity, but we choose to take certain things one by one to also make citizens open their eyes as to what is going on.
Okay.
My friend, the country is decaying. You asked me a question earlier.
I have one last question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I have one last question. I need to take phone calls.
Yeah.
So you've issued a statement in the papers
Yeah.
about ballot papers being printed
Yes.
locally.
Yes.
I know in the past there have been political parties who've encouraged, including yourselves, who've encouraged the printing of ballot papers locally. Why this sudden change of heart all of a sudden?
Yeah.
I thought you'd be one of the first ones to say this is a good move.
You have to be careful with your facts. When you're dealing with guys like me, you've got to be very careful with your facts. The issue, my brother, is very simple. PF lives on corruption. Corruption is PF. If there was a child called PF in a house, the surname is only one. The surname is corruption. If there was a child in a house whose first name is corruption, the surname is PF. So they are one and the same. Every move PF is making now, it is smelling corruption. They want to print ballot papers locally because they know there was a fight towards 2016 ballot papers on that Dubai printer. And the Dubai printer has now been exposed. Right? Kenyans used that and it brought chaos, acrimony in the Kenyan elections. So now they are trying to circumvent that by saying they can print locally for corruption reasons. One, to steal the vote, as they have done, as Mr. Lungu himself confirmed. He was voted out in 2015, 2016, but he refused to go out. He refused to go out in 2021. This is a scheme to use to refuse to go out in 2021. Simple. The next level of corruption they're encouraging there is to use the printing of ballot papers here for procurement corruption, to procure materials towards the printing of ballot papers, give those contracts to friends and relatives, again, so they can live better when the marketeer has no trading place, when the marketeer is dying of cholera in the market and thrown out. This is the contestation we have. If, Logi, PF can not contain cholera, how can they print ballot papers? Tell me. And brings me a tight question. Allow me just a second. This nuclear plant in Chongwe, it should never ever be entertained by any citizens. If there's a nuclear accident in this country and the epicenter of that accident is Chongwe, Lusaka will be wiped out. Maybe the whole province, Lusaka and Central will be wiped out, including into the Copper Belt, into the Southern, into the Eastern, into Western and Northwestern. How can anyone in today's Zambia talk about a nuclear plant? Because safety of the people matters. They don't care about people that in Japan, a very, very industrialized country, technological advanced country, the effects of even Hiroshima and Nagasaki, nuclear bombs, is still being felt. Recently, the nuclear accident in Japan has had a telling effect. How can we handle a nuclear accident in this country? Even in South Africa, Ramaphosa said no. The reason they are pushing the nuclear plant is because they're doing deals to make personal money and they're willing to kill citizens because of greed. We should say no to it. In the same way, we should say no to a national airline. Zambia under PF and indeed under any leader has no capacity for either of those. Let us clean toilets so that we can have free cholera markets. Let us provide water instead of talking about the nuclear plant or for corruption, my friend. This is what this country is doing. That's why that impeachment motion is correct. It's not about numbers or not. It's about doing the right thing.
Okay, I'm going to take phone calls.
Yeah.
226-841, 236-790, 0978-895-895.
stock up on home electronics, get your laundry done, freshen up your wardrobe with the latest fashion trends. Treat yourself to an awesome meal. Makengelo has a selection of retail stores on the southern side of Lusaka and includes the largest single retail space in Zambia. You can pay. And while at the mall, pay your DSTV. Visit our mobile telecommunication stores, regularly local, our healthcare, and also financial service providers. Experience the brands at Makengelo. Make us your everyday mall. Makengelo, Cafe Road, Lusaka. Bringing your favorite brands home.
Rainforest Nightclub, Zambia's top-notch night spot, invites you to come drink and wine while you dance to the big jams by top-notch DJs, the award-winning DJ Creechay, DJ Draco, and our resident DJs, the Forest Boys. Every Friday and Saturday. Remember, Thursday night, it's Reggae Dancehall Explosion. With W Star and General OZ. We are situated at Munali Roundabout, corner of Great East and Kamloops Roads. We are open every Thursday, Friday and Saturday from 19 hours till late. Rainforest Nightclub, a new generation of nightclubs.
You can, but just for...
Arthur Davison School of Pediatric and Child Health Nursing will be conducting open interviews for the in-service program for the registered pediatric nursing from 5th to 9th March 2018 under Pediatric Nursing Program. Entry requirements: registered nurse, minimum 1 year working experience, current practicing license. For interviews, come with original and certified copies of grade 12 and professional certificates, NRC, current practicing license, and bank deposit slip. For details, contact the principal tutor on 0950-557-332.
When it comes to buying a mattress, what's inside is just as important as what's on top. If you are looking for inner spring support as well as comfort, look no further. The Bed Shop brings the orthopedic comfort mattress range in bamboo, gel, and pillow top mattresses, all from as low as 3,999 kwacha for a queen set. It's the best bed inside and out. Now at Eastpac Mall, Levy Business Park, Kafue Road, Waterfall Mall, Kabwe, and Kafue Town. Buy any bed and get a chance to win your whole purchase for free. Don't be left out. Do it now. Call us on 235260. The Bed Shop. We are the bed specialist.
Thank you for being our guest on the program this morning is the president of the UPND. Let me go to the phone lines and pick up a couple of calls. Hello, good morning. Good morning, how are you, sir? Rwanda, go ahead.
President KKH, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Mzwire.
Nazo kuchwa nikuwa ndumngaka. Banami na vaizi chwa.
President, I like your analysis of the state of affairs.
Yes.
Though I'm a socialist, and I think outside socialism, I believe you are the better option or alternative, at least, to bring some measure of national development. And not just about bragging about infrastructure from where people are enriching themselves, obviously through corruption, as you said. However, may I hasten to say that for me, socialism is the best option for our system of governance to bring the required national development. But it is not time to just fight this claim or statement because I have other issues. Just give me about 30 minutes, Ruchi.
Did you say 30 minutes? I'm sorry, you only have 1 minute. Okay.
Sorry. President Kekechi, as an individual and as a party, I think you need to concentrate more on relaying your message to the masses, that is the ordinary people, than seeming to address the PF. Issues that you should highlight should be accusations such as amassing wealth through selling mines, the party itself and you yourself being tribal. These are the main accusations your opponents use to convince the people, especially in areas where you are not popular as a party, maybe as an individual as well. This is where you should concentrate your presence, especially in the northern Luapula, Muchinga, whatever. You should be going there hold meetings, whatever. Tell the people you never saw them mind, you never must say national, you are not tribal, whatever. If in the past, when you were elected, you were tribal, whatever.
Yeah. Joe, thank you very much, Joe. You did say 30 seconds. That was a lot more than 30 seconds. Hello, good morning. Good morning, how are you? What's your name?
What is your president?
How are you, sir? How are you, sir?
No. También no una kutoka 2011 kufika manje wa president naona kumenyana movement ya PF akiboresha kumenyana kusundana bayana njala kama kwa president wanapenda mfano wa PF mapenzi kwa dhati también naona chama president ni housing national housing authority of Master President wa Swalangira. Department of Government. Marita is the President Swalandira. But to never show from government. The NRI, you are never come for President. And then we put a very good example of Stingra Kundarama. But to make a serious series of President. Government is 50% Chito, Chirian Chito, kumanga mapresident wenzao wamefuna kutandika wafaida kumene atibapanga Kristo ni wapoma president wa watu wa PF waenda ukoti mkeze wa president muri mulando kumba ndama zao mtu kodi ripoti ndalama wa president azifika kutandika tumatu kiti tumapasa kizo wa mjesienda maroti wa president sawa ni kanooneka Apoi mahali probat kwanza kuiero dilionsi ameti wale sindrama na beti soka hatima. Lakini kwa kubuka paja patat pati paja ba president vikira nyonge ndama wodi wasema sana watoke. Kabla wa president 4 years banyama kama karama billionaire.
Yeah, Pamuinka, thank you very much as well for calling. Listen, I want to try and get in as many calls as possible. So when you call the radio station, please have your question ready. We'll do 60 seconds maximum. Good morning, how are you, sir? I'm very well, thank you. What's your name?
This is HM from.
How are you, sir?
HM, you have 60 seconds starting now. Go ahead with your question.
Mr. My President, the election is won in the ward. Now, you see, I want to suggest this advice to you. You say we want to also to talk to you, to see you, like here in Kabwe. When you come sometimes, find a time, call my ward chairman. Ward chairman, come here. Because a ward chairman and a councillor, those are the people who are for the people. Those are the words that are won in the section and in the word. Now, if you look at the caliber of the word chairman we have, you come sometimes in Gamai, like here you come in Kawa, you call the word chairman, motivate them. Give them the good advice to them. They're not always meeting those people on top. But district, they don't have people. The constituency, they don't have people. The province, they don't have people. People who have the word, if we in the UPND we want to win the election, let us go in the word. Motivate us, talk to us. When you come here, stay with us, even 2 minutes or 2 seconds, talk to us. Final question. UPND, the fertile ground to win the election is there, even today. Now, what is the top management doing to protect our election? Because the people we are dealing, these are typical crooks.
HM, you're out of time. Thank you very much for calling. 26841-236-790.
The Phoenix FM Global News Headlines.
Trump's steel tariffs row trading partners, and diabetes is actually 5 separate diseases, research suggests. Join us for details at 11.
Phoenix FM Global News.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, how are you, sir?
Thank you very much. Good morning, President.
Morning, sir.
What's your name? Alan, you have 60 seconds. Go.
Thank you very much. I think to start with, I want to appreciate the analysis of President Hakainde's dilemma. Now, there is only one prominent issue that I want to touch on. That's to do with the issue of printing of ballot papers. Personally, Comrade Delucci and my dear President Hakainde's dilemma, I've never felt so much pain in my entire life than the pain of being robbed of an election, like what happened in 2015, 2016, and I would want that to happen when I'm still alive come elections. So personally, I'm 100% opposed, just like my president has said, the printing of ballot paper here in this country. Government printers have got no capacity of any kind to print ballot papers. That is the source of anarchy. If you see countries where there is, war, it is because of elections. People fight because elections are not handled properly. So even when you look at this, it's not Edgar Chagwarungu to announce that you are going to print ballot papers in this country. Where does he get those powers? He's a participant in that election. Exactly. So to come out and say, no, we're going to print ballot papers in this country, we are going to use the government printers. You are a candidate, my friend, so you don't have those powers to say we are printing ballot papers in this country. What I want to see, Mr. President, is ballot papers being printed, be it in UK, be it in South Africa. And this issue of saying, we are going ahead, we are going ahead, we are going ahead. Going ahead to do what?
Alan, thank you very much, Alan. 22684123670. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Morning. This is Radio Phoenix. What's your name? Monga, go ahead. You have 60 seconds. Go.
Yeah, good morning, Mr. President.
Morning, sir.
How are you?
We cannot be okay when Zambians are hating everywhere.
Yeah, definitely. Anyway, just a quick question I want to ask is on the ruling by the High Court on the nullification of seats. I'm not very sure. I'm sure the Constitution would say that this should be resolved within 90 days.
Yes.
And this is not happening. What is the comment on that? Thank you.
Okay, thank you as well for keeping it nice and brief. Hello, good morning. Morning, how are you?
Morning, sir. How are you? Name?
Shakespeare. You know the rules. 60 seconds. Go.
Fine. No, which I never go overboard. I'll be very direct to you, Donna David. You're handling this by yourself. You're firefighting by yourself. In 2014, I think, on Joy FM, asked you to relieve of Charles Kakoma and then SD somewhere. These two guys are killing you. They are not combative enough. They are not doing anything. We don't hear anything from these two people, especially Mr. Kakoma, who is the media person who is supposed to be talking about them. He doesn't. 2014 on Joy FM, I told you that. Remove this man. He doesn't have it. He needs to wake up and smell the coffee. Even the SP, I don't even know how he looks like. You're firefighting alone, you on GBM. Please change your media team. I tell you, change your media team. These people will kill you. They're sleeping. Buy them some coffee, they smell it, they'll wake up.
Shakespeare, thanks. Hello, good morning. I'm alright, thanks. What's your name? Lukulu voice, 60 seconds, go.
Thank you very much. President Hakainde. Fine, sir. You have always tackle issues. I think your campaign, the election of 2016 won, and what's happening here is that the courts are doing the right to head. Okay? Then the justice minister is so trying to bulldoze people. It's no matter petition. Petition was bad at the end, according to him, which was true. And the issues of this block, I think, have been raised by the same individuals in PF government. These are the ones. And how do you look at someone who had 2.5 million in 2015? 2015 is 30 million, which is all guys, billion. Where has he got the money? You understand because they have to tell us that how we got the money to work for it and develop. No, for one who has just been less than 5 years, they have got 23 billion.
Okay. Lukulu Voice, thank you for calling. Lukulu wants to find out about wealth and how some leaders have amassed their wealth in a very short period of time. Good morning, Proud.
Good morning, Vice President.
Morning, Proud. Thank you.
I'm in the garden compound, Mr. President. I got a 2 questions. In the garden, we got the police. There's vehicle, but it's starting now for us. Our people are patrolling on foot. During a cholera, if you book a taxi, Mama taxi worker, that police used to hold past that vehicle. Now we are being told the Minister of Home Affairs, after the activities, but it's not on the ground. Including this paying of ZRA, we got the people from Eastern. Mrs. Piri, Vada Daura, Tizari Pilabay TV license, Maturu de la Cimenti, Wakangua Kutepura Murumu Spectaino, Bakwa City Market, Marapa Glacier to my plastic, Tizapema Kuti, Monat Palace to take for my election. Not even the door for TF we have created. They have started Hammer Mills. Why is the Hammer Mills? Yamena Walakabatuga, Tizubura Wachipa. Unitanga Wachipa, Banaba Kutu was a member of Spectaino, Yamakaka. Manjama Pirate Box without printing a plan. But you tell a president who would take Nawaka. What the ground they are not there? How do you fail to pay nothing out?
Proud. Thank you very much, Proud. 226-841-236-790. Can I take a few more and then you can respond? Is that okay?
Okay.
Hello, good morning. Morning, how are you? What's your name? Ezekiel, go ahead.
Mr. President.
Morning, sir.
Thank you. Mr. President, I'd like you to take a step back.
Sorry?
Talking about the issue of corruption, I'd like you to do a retrospection of yourself and help us understand these ambitions that have been leveled against you in several forums about how you perhaps so much well through the privatization process. Thank you very much.
Ezekiel, thank you very much. Ezekiel, line wasn't very clear, but Ezekiel's asking about, how you amass your wealth. Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Roger.
Morning, how are you?
Thank you. President, good morning, sir.
Morning, sir. Thank you. Kibomani. Thank you, sir.
And to me, Rochi, it is just an appeal that I want to put. Zambians, please, this man has sacrificed his own life. He's a well-to-do man who was going to, he can even go even in the States. But he has seen that Zambians are suffering. He is passing through all these problems that he has passing through because he wants to liberate Zambia. So my appeal is that please, even those who had a little hope that Mr. Lungu can do something, I think you have got eyes and you have got ears. You have seen what Mr. Lungu is capable of doing and what he cannot do. PF has brought on the problem, and this man is trying to liberate us. He's trying to pull us from the poverty that the PF has brought in this country. So, my appeal is that please let us unite as a country. Let us give this man a full support. Because without this man, Zambia is going nowhere. Zambia is at a standstill, and we are going to continue suffering. So let us make sure that we unite, we give him all the support. You who are still thinking that maybe whom is going to do something.
Yeah, Mishek. Thank you very much, Mishek. Okay, let me let you respond. I know there are a lot of them. Let me let you respond, and then I have a whole bunch of text messages as well that are asking questions. So maybe you can respond very quickly.
Yeah, let's start from the first question. First, I want to thank the questioners for coming through. I'm very grateful for your questions, Mlonda. Socialism is the best for development. Concentrate on selling yourselves. I really don't think that we should be arguing about isms now. what we should be talking about and consistently and in a concerted way, consistently and in a concerted way, is to agree that we need development. We need the economy to function, Luchi. We need jobs, we need health services, we need agriculture to work. You know, when there's a drought, we need the meteorological department to tell farmers that there will be a drought from this day to that day, so that even at planting, they will know what to do. That is not done. And that's what UPND wants to focus on, not the isms. You see, the days of isms are gone. Today, the ism is neither here nor there. What people want is jobs, they want food, they want medicines, and that's what UPND's focus is all about. And I think we're more on the Shangwe, because there is no issue of I am blue, I'm yellow, I'm tall, I'm Bemba, I'm Lozi, I'm Tumbuka, I'm Nyanja, I'm Lubale. It's a non-issue, right? It is the people of Zambia cannot eat tribe, cannot eat isms. They want a leadership capable of lowering the price of fuel. That's UPND. Capable of delivering inputs on time. It's UPND. Capable of basically having a zero tolerance on corruption. It's UPND. For those who don't understand Lozi, let us work together to liberate the people of Zambia. Let's give distance to the people of Zambia. So yes, you say we sell our policies. It's true. But first we have to demonstrate that PF has failed, completely failed. And it's not in doubt now that we were cheated. We need to remind the people of Zambia that PF told us lower taxes. Bomulonda, that is why I have been laboring to show that you are taxed at 80% individual, 79% corporate. Effectively, you are left with less than 5% of income. I've calculated, Luchi, here while the questions were coming through. I was doing a dual exercise, listening and calculating. Effectively, out of everything you work for, you only have 4.2% of your income. That's all. That is what we should deal with. And part of this is the corruption. We must work together to fight corruption, not the isms. So let's work together. That's the message. The issue of tribe must not be a matter for me to answer. It must be answered by Bomulonda, Luchi here, everybody. Ask God in His wisdom. He gave us a beautiful country. Different languages, cultures, value to the table. And if we are truly a Christian nation, is it correct that we are talking about tribalism today? Why is the PF government removing civil servants from the public offices from Northwestern, Western, Southern, Central, Lusaka, Copperbelt Road? Why are they retiring them in national interest? These are the ones you should be tackling. Why is Lungu retiring himself? I've seen letters where he himself signs a letter to a captain in the army who is from, basically, of the provinces that UPND won. You are retired in national interest. This is a 29-year-old captain. How can you do a thing like that? And then you address tribalism to Akainde. What do you mean? What is the issue here? Let us be true to ourselves. Okay. We are one people. Okay. The issue of selling mines, Bomulonda, you're right. I've never sold a mine. I don't know how many times I'm going to say it. But the people who argue about it, Luigi, are those who have nothing else to debate with HS. They know there's nothing else. Let's move on.
Yeah. Have you done a bad job, by the way? Do you think you've done a bad job of selling that message that you haven't done anything?
No.
That it constantly keeps coming up?
No.
Oh, it's just people just
No. If I am competing with you, Luigi, and I'm telling lies about you, if I stop telling lies about you, I will have nothing else to say. Okay. So they will continue. Okay. The facts are there. You see, the goodness about the things we deal with it. It just go to the Zambia Development Agency, which is a successor to ZPA. Go and check. The records are there. Go to the Minister of Finance. Go and check. Did HH sell a mine? The answer, 3 answers are there. The first answer is no. The second answer is no. The third answer is still no. It's not there. So facts are there. The reason is that you have guys who smell that if HH and his team comes in, they will not be allowed to steal money anymore. Okay. That is the issue. Let's move on. Yeah. The Mulenga Chirungamo. PF violence. I totally agree. Let's work on this. They're killing the country. National Housing Authority workers not being paid. But someone is posing with a Rolex watch bought from taxpayers' money. That money should have gone to pay some workers at National Housing Authority. And tomorrow you find a National Housing Authority worker who has not been paid. He's saying, Dununa Ribes. What is that nonsense? Honestly speaking, that's not an answer. You've got to think through. It is that power to think. They say to you, lower taxes. I've shown you that you have only 4.2% of your revenue. The taxes are higher. They've told you more jobs. You don't have a job. You're actually being retrenched. So they lie to you. They're now saying things so that you are blinded about people like HH. I didn't sell them, man. So simple. Let's work together. So we don't need violence in our country. We don't have to have workers not being paid. Let's move on. HM Kawi. I think he's giving counsel. He's giving advice. I know that in the wards, we need to meet the wards, ward chairman. Absolutely. I think that is true. We can only take his advice, and we're working on it. That's why you've seen that now, HM in Kabwe, we will be basically coming in your areas, but not just Hakainde, as someone else wrote. Yeah. I want members of the party at all levels to all of us go to the lower levels. That's where things happen. Thanks, HM. Your point is clear. Vote protection, I think we're working on that. Part of the vote protection is a responsibility for everybody to protect your vote. Because when someone declares that they lost in 2015, 2016, and they will refuse to leave as they refuse to leave in 2021, we must all be concerned. What is he talking about? It is the reason he wants the printing of ballot papers at in Zambia, because he can then manipulate and then use the keys to the armory to beat citizens who complain. These are part of the impeachment issues, the violence, beating people, right? Alan Kajili, printing of ballot papers. I think we've talked about it really. Why should PF be the ones talking about deciding to print ballot papers in Zambia? It should be ECZ. Then you should know that there's manipulation there. And I think I'm happy that Alan has put it very clearly, and I agree with him. Monga Lusaka, MPs, nullification of results, the petitions, according to law, Luchi, is supposed to be 90 days. 90 days. Today, we are on almost 400 days from the time the petitions were put. Compare to the so-called 14 days for presidential petitions. If the parliamentary petitions are not discharged, not resolved in 400 plus days, when they should have been resolved in 90 days. One point to pick, can you discharge the presidential petition in 14 days? Absolutely not, because that's a national election. The parliamentary election is confined to a constituency. But you should also know that one of the reasons that we're having challenges is that we have justice which is delayed awfully, too much delayed. And I was sitting in court when the Munali, ruling, if you like, partial ruling was made last week, I think, or this week. It was this week. It was on Monday. Yeah. It was on Monday. And I looked there. I looked at the bench. My memory lane went to the presidential petition. I looked at, I listened to the ruling. My friend, the submission was made in the High Court. We, as applicant through Doreen Mwamba, complainant, made an application, put all the evidence, and the ruling was made in our favor to nullify Munali. And Kanduluo should not be sitting in cabinet. She's sitting in cabinet. Remember, we're talking about the rule of law earlier, why we need to take motions in court and in parliament. And she's sitting there. She's not supposed to sit there. Margaret Mwanakatu is not supposed to sit there. She shouldn't be Minister of Finance.
Do you want to run through some of the other questions?
Exactly.
Because I have one that you're going to like.
No, but you should listen to even things you don't like.
No, I have one question that you're going to like from via the
Shakespeare. Shakespeare says, HH is handling matters himself, remove Kakoma, Katuka, change media team. Look, we listen to advice. But we also mix advice from different angles, my friend.
Okay.
In our business, it is to improve. It is not to focus on removing people. It is to improve. Listen to his concern, Shakespeare. We've heard your concern. Remember that you need the people who are talented differently. An SG may not be talented in making noise, talking, but may be talented in making sure that records are managed properly. There is no being bought. You put a wrong SG there, Luchi, tomorrow you'll be bought with 30 pieces of silver. And the part will be sold. Okay. So it's a combination of talents we need. Okay. But we take the advice. Okay. Lukulu voice, HH has campaigned and won elections, but 2015, 2016, it is true. This has been the case, and we must find an answer, not just us in UPND, but every Zambian who's suffering today must say no more stolen elections. And that's why we want a truly independent electoral commission, where the electoral commission will be the one dealing with the printing of ballot papers, not Inongewina, not Lungu, because these are compromised, they are players. Why are they the one talking about the printing of ballot papers? Proud. Garden police patrolling. I think I agree with Proud's issues. TV license, Zambians overtaxed. Mulungushi Texas not open, basically saying there are no jobs. I agree with him. We've talked about Ezekiel. Explain HH's wealth. Again, Luchi, here's another issue, which is really, really unfortunate. Do you know why we want a leadership that will run the country better? It is to make Zambians wealthy. Zambians agree that they need a leadership, as they've done in South Africa now. They say, we need a leadership that will improve the South African economy. Why? Create jobs. What else? Business opportunities. What else? Pay for education. What else? Pay for health. That is what we want to do here. So maybe the question must be saying, bring HH on a program. I want to suggest to you, Luchi, bring me on a program to talk about how we started. I've said it before. I bought my first plot, Luchi, 3 months after graduating. I bought it from Kalingalinga. I built a house in Kalingalinga. I couldn't finish it. I sold it at a 200% profit. That's entrepreneurship. And with the cash I bought the house, I went and bought a plot in Libala, upgraded myself. People were laughing at me that HH is building in a compound. And I used to say, these guys are laughing at me, they have nothing. But they're laughing at somebody who is struggling here. And by the way, Luchi, that first house of mine, I couldn't afford a Dhaka boy, so-called a Dhaka boy. It's a wrong terminology, but it's a terminology being used. So I could afford a bricklayer. So I was a Dhaka boy myself. And we were building weekends and after 5 when I knock off. As a young graduate from University of Zambia. The rest is history. It is there. The track record is there. We work hard. Take the opportunity. Young people, take the opportunity. Do not behave like PF. When you have a bit of money, don't buy a Rolex watch. That is the HH principle and art. Don't buy a Rolex watch. Go and buy pockets of cement, a little plot, and start building even a 2-roomed house so that you can stop renting and then you can live in your house. The rental money you can save, 1, to improve your house, 2, to look at other needs. And that's how the business starts. That's how building an asset base goes on. You must reduce on your consumption and save. And you need a government that will allow you to save, not the one that is taxing you like this, because you can't save money. Then you build from there. But you see, this is a long story. When others were, Luchi, going for discos in my early career, I was always out looking for farms. I was looking for plots. Others, the same time they spent in a disco house. That time there was what was called, you were young, Studio 22, room at the top. That's what it was called. I never visited the room at the top, Studio 22, where people danced from 20 hours to 05 in the morning. I thought that time I could use to do some income generating activity, invest for a future return, invest and invest. I still invest today. You should never stop investing because you can't just eat. Because if you just eat, you don't bring in revenue, you are going to be poor sooner or later. Now it's not about us being poor. We're looking at what our grandchildren will be doing and their children. That's what we want to do for this country. That's why we're seeking leadership, so that we can bring back the art of savings, the art of consuming less, eating less, save and invest. That is the theory of economic growth at a personal level, at the company level, at the national level. Then we create opportunities for the people to be employed, young people to go to school, young people to get a contract instead of giving Chinese contracts. We must give contracts to Zambian to supply sand, stones in a road construction project.
Okay.
That is the way it works. But this requires, Luchi, an hour or 2 hours, just that subject alone. You know, I also want to suggest something, Luchi. Can we change the programming? Hang on, just hang on. Let's change the programming of these radio stations. Let's not just have these monolithic questions, similar questions. What did you, what's about this? What about impeachment? Let's say today we are talking about entrepreneurship. How to build your first one-roomed house and eventually lead you to building a 4-bedroom house. I want to walk citizens through, then we talk for 20 minutes, then the whole 1 hour, we leave it for questions. I mean, what does that mean? What did you mean here and there? Thank you.
You see, the problem is you don't allow me to speak. This is the problem with our conversations, me and you. You always want to overtake the conversation.
Wow.
So here's my suggestion to you. 30th of March, you and I, we can talk business. How's that?
30th of March.
Yes.
Too
you
far.
check your diary.
Too far.
It's
but
not
but
too far.
we'll take it.
Check your diary
But we'll
and
take
let
it.
your people call my people. And
But
we'll
we'll
set it.
but we'll
Okay.
take it.
There is.
Huh?
30th March is good March.
Hang on.
Okay, then let's do
hang on.
23rd March.
All right. I think we'll deal with the Deputy Secretary General is here.
Okay, so
we'll deal with the matter.
23rd March.
Let's look at the
there's
suitable
another day.
date.
Okay.
Yeah.
I had a question. This
Yes.
came via the text, and I want you to respond to this very quickly.
Yes.
Michael's asking,
Yes.
when you form government, would you continue with pay as you earn? If so, at what percentage would the highest bracket be? And how much taxes are investors paying compared to citizens? I told you it was a good question. It's a question that I would have liked you to spend a couple of minutes with, but you decided to kind of go on and on and on and on.
Why did you bring me on this station? You brought me here to listen to it.
No, I brought you here to
You're not
answer
the guest.
questions.
I'm the guest.
I know, I know, but I would like you to be a bit more considerate when you respond to questions.
Yeah, sure.
So here's a question for you. Then, would you continue with pay as you earn? What percentage would the highest be?
Our policy is very clear, Luchi. I know we're joking a bit, second away. We need to joke once in a while. It's a very serious question.
Yeah.
Our policy on tax is to make sure that we tax citizenry, the citizenry, companies and individuals to levels that are affordable, given the operating environment, the cost of living taken into account there, the cost of doing business, the other levies. So what we will do, we will look at the whole array of taxes, right? Direct taxes, indirect taxes, levies, put those together, the way I tried to do today on this summary I was reading out to you. And then, because our policy is to tax citizens only to affordable levels, then we'll be able to remix the whole tax regime. To pick pay as you earn alone is not the way to look at the tax sector. We need to make sure that we look at the totality of the taxes, try and clean up what is called tax on tax, which is what PF is doing, and levies on levies and tolls and all of these issues we talked about. So our approach as a policy is to tax citizens what we call a fair tax, which is a lower tax based on the operating environment, income levels, and other existing taxes. The idea is to allow citizens to have savings from their income, be it a company, be it an individual, to allow them to have savings. And when they have savings, then as UPND will encourage them to invest. To invest even in building your own home so that you can move away from a rented property and save money. That's an advancement for a family. To encourage citizens to save, to invest in agriculture, in mining, and it's a big subject. So that even a marketeer, when they are trading in the market, we look at their capital levels, how shall I call it in a local language? Anyway, the amount they have to trade with, and then we'll look at what relief we need to give them in the market. Levies are too many in the market. Charges on taxi drivers are too many. Our policy will be to leave taxi drivers, marketeers with enough income to be able to take care of their needs and save a little bit more. Even this 10% tax on withholding tax on rent, we go to review it. What other income do citizens have? They are not employed. So if the little house a widow has, which her husband left, she's charging 2,000 kwacha rent, She moves then to a smaller house in the compound and pays 500,000 kwacha, 500 kwacha. We know her only income, we will work it out, is 1,500. That's not enough. Should we apply a 10% tax, withholding tax? We will say no to that category of people. You understand? This is the way we look at it in totality. Thinking, applying our minds, ultimately, fair tax, leave reasonable amounts of money, enough money in the hands of the owners, not 4.2%, but probably 60%, 70% overall, when you have netted out the compound tax and tax on tax and levies. That is our approach. Then you will see more investments from citizens. You will see economic growth, not at 2%, but 7, 10%. These are the connections that we understand in the UPND. And then when you do that, Luchi, you will have jobs. You'll be able to keep children in school. You will have hospitals that will attend to you when you need an operation, instead of actually keeping you at home so that your broken bone rots instead of being attended to. These are the connections that one simple question on pay-as-you-earn is connected to a lot of things.
I told you it was a good question.
UPN.
I told you it was a good question.
I respect
See,
you.
if you had listened to me early on, we would have had a lot more time to have a conversation about that. Okay, two more quick points. The first one, someone wants to know about Honorable Mukata. You haven't commented about this. Do you want to just give a quick comment at all? Is there anything that you can say as a party?
I'm not sure what you mean we haven't commented. People may not know. We are...
Maybe from yourself,
yeah,
as president of the party.
I think just check on my Facebook, check on the media. It must already be everywhere in the media, where we basically issued a position to sympathize with Mukata, with his family, and also, that we are not judges in a matter of this nature, because we have no ability to assess whether Mukata was truly guilty or not. That is for the courts to decide. Ours is a humane responsibility, that he is a citizen, right? As English, and citizen. And he is a member of parliament who happens to be UPND also, found himself in these circumstances. We're not there to say he's guilty or not. We are offering him our strength, our support, for him to be strong, to carry on. Remember, I shared prison, Chimbokaila, with him. He found me in prison before I was transferred to Mukobeko. And we were talking about this issue, strengthening each other. We continue on that route. And we really, really ask the family to be strong, all of us to be strong. And the day, my friend, before I go there, we also use the same opportunity to strengthen, to encourage the family members, all of us who lost a citizen, who lost that guard through that incident, right? Because life is life. No one should lose life under any circumstances. And if we can protect life, we should protect life. I think that's our position, Luchi. It's already out in the media. Now, I heard Kabimba yesterday on radio, I think it was on Hot FM or something. He talked a lot of crap, right, about UPND. Not being sympathetic, not doing what. He doesn't even know what we've been trying to do. He has no, you can see the venom, and I couldn't understand where is Winter coming from. He's uninformed, but he's going out all out. You can say, look, this guy maybe wants to go back to PF, but you can go back to PF without messing HH, without messing UPND. Okay. Here's another letter.
I'm out of time.
Okay, right.
I'm really sorry.
Yes.
No, but we'll do this again soon.
We'll do it again. Let's spend time on
No,
issues.
I'm out of time.
Yes. No, I said next time. Let's
next
spend time on
definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
It's good to see you as always. Thank you so much for coming. That's it for today. Back again on Tuesday for another edition of